Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how I make perfectly marinated baby back ribs. And here's the finished product I'm going to show you. They turned out awesome. So I like to poke holes in the membrane because I leave it on. So I use a knife or a fork, but you just poke, poke, poke. The more holes you put in there, the better that marinade can get in there. And for a marinade, I use a Jaeger brand black nugget marinade. There you go. And I'm leaving a link in the description below if you want to use that to buy some for yourself. This stuff I use on chicken, pork, works good on lamb, beef. I use it on my steaks. I mean, it's just so easy to use instead of putting the spices on there. Marinades are superior in a lot of different ways. They make it more tender. I feel like they get in there better, especially if you poke the holes. And I'm also leaving a link down below for this briner junior. There's also a bigger one you can get, but this one seems to fit everything I need. I use this briner for jerky, for chicken, and of course for ribs. I use a whole rack, cut it in half. I cook it whole like that, and then once I get it out of the oven, then you can cut it into separate ribs, but you'll see that in a second. This briner bucket is so nice because you see this plate. You push it all the way down, you twist it to lock it in, and now it's going to hold your ribs in the marinade so you make sure they're submerged all the time so then it's not an inconsistent marinade. And you saw up there on the ticker, you want it in there at least 6 hours, or at least, you can do it overnight too. So unlock the plate, take that out, and I'm going to lay my ribs out on the tin foil here and wrap them up. And I leave them on a rack to put in my oven because I feel like that gives it a more consistent cook than leaving it on a sheet pan. And I do rib side down. You want bones down. And I do 375 preheated oven for about 2 hours, but I give it a poke. Once it gets about 160, 165 is when I pull them off. Let them rest for a little bit, 10 minutes or so. So here they go, taking them out. You're going to see leaving that membrane on, it just pulls right off of there if you want to do that after it cooks, but it holds the ribs better together. So then when you're cutting them, they're not all just falling apart. Because sometimes if you cook ribs too long and they're tender, you'll just have shredded pork, and it's not really like a rib on the bone anymore. So take it out, make sure you're not spilling your juices out everywhere. So the trick is now to cut it singly by bone, and then I lay it out on a tray, and then I put the barbecue and brown sugar on it. So this is what the membrane looks like. It gets real soft, but it really does hold the bones together a little bit better as opposed to taking it off. And then you might have, when you're trying to hold your ribs, they just fall apart, which some people like, but I like it to be held onto the bones a little bit more, it has a better bite to it. So I cut each bone separate. As you can see, that marinade got all the way through the meat. I think it's real important to poke the holes in there so it can get in there better, especially if you're not going to be injecting it. You got to give it the old taste test. Look at that juicy meat. This marinade, I'm telling you, is knockout. If you haven't tried this yet, Jaeger makes a lot of other marinades and spices too. It's a good brand. So you reuse my tin foil. I'm going to be setting out my ribs, and then I sprinkle it brown sugar, and then I put barbecue sauce on half of it. My kids don't always like the barbecue sauce, so they love the ribs. They just don't like the barbecue sauce, so I only sauce half of them, spread it out, and I'm going to be putting it in the broiler on the top shelf. And I just need about 5 minutes, maybe not even that long. Just keep the oven open and you can keep an eye on it. Once your brown sugar starts to caramelize, then you know it's done. It's real easy to burn it if you don't keep an eye on it. So spread that sauce on there. Like I said, you only need about 5 minutes in the broiler and they're done. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe. Check out the comments below for the links. Talk to you later. Thanks.